plants are trying to kill you. I was like, right, forget plants. And I just stopped.
Okay, here we are. We're on to the final food of our 7 Foods Breaking Your Body series, guys. And if you're new here and you've missed any of the other 6 videos, please check them out under the Getting Started playlist, and that's going to be linked down below. Now, this one was a little bit tough for me because, listen, the junk foods, the seed oils, and the sugars and the wheats, that, most of those foods seemed obvious when I went carnivore to get them out. But this one was not straightforward. And today we're going to be discussing vegetables, and are they really trying to kill us?
White-cap mushrooms had over 100 known carcinogens, but also spinach, kale, lettuce, celery, cabbage, cucumber, broccoli, literally given pages and pages of every plant that you've ever come across in the grocery store. And not a single one had less than 60 known human carcinogens in them. And I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, well, but vegetables are still good for you though, right? Our professor must have just read our minds and looked at us like, you guys aren't getting this. And he just said, I don't eat salads. I don't eat vegetables. I don't let my kids eat vegetables. Plants are trying to kill you. I was like, right, forget plants. And I just stopped. And you go to the grocery store and everything has plants. Everything either is plants or has plants in the ingredients. And I just walked around and I just came across it's eggs and meat. I'm like, okay, well, I just eat eggs and meat. And that's what I did for a number of years and had massive health benefits. I was playing professional rugby while in university, and my athletic performance, as well as just my physical health, just increased dramatically. It was just night and day different.
So I'm Frank from the Carnivore Fix, and I'm going to start by sharing this isn't a video about vegetarians versus carnivores. This video is meant to help clarify some of the most confusing questions that I had early in my journey. So our family grew this garden with our own hands. We took great pride in the vegetable garden. We loved it. All the tomatoes, the spinach, the kale, it was a whole family thing. Swiss chard, zucchini, and we grew most of our food right on our own homestead. I followed the nutrition advice that I got from my healthcare provider, suggesting that I needed to eat a whole food diet that was focusing on vegetables and whole grains if I wanted to have optimal health and overall well-being for myself. So I felt like I was doing everything right, growing all my vegetables myself, and yeah, we ate all that bounty for years. I first learned about the harmful effects of plants several years ago. Let me explain. So I attended an event that was held by a local university, and it was hosted by an Aboriginal man. And he took us around the bush and we walked and talked about the trees and the plants that were in the local forest. And then we learned all about the medicinal benefits of each one of those. And then he also shared the harmful effects of the plants if we handled them incorrectly. And listen, other than poison ivy, I was really clueless when it came to these harmful plants. Now, at the time, my wife and I, we were vegetarian. And during the lunch break that day, when we all sat down after our walkabout, we gathered around a small fire pit, and our host, he took out a frying pan and he began cooking his steak over an open fire that was right there in the middle. Now, most of the people that were there that day, we were all vegetarian, and quite surprised to learn that Joe, our plant man, he doesn't eat vegetables. He shared that he was a carnivore. And this was the very first time that I had ever heard somebody only eating meat. Now, at the time, I can honestly say that I was so confused because, listen, I kept right, I wasn't going to have that. I was going to keep right on eating my veggies and convincing myself that the vegetarian diet was still the optimal way that I wanted to live my life, because that's what all of my doctors said. Now, in 2023, my wife had a serious medical episode with her asthma, and it actually required for her to have some minor surgery. And it left her looking into a low inflammatory diet, which is what her doctor advised her to do. Now, this is when she explored the keto way of life. And then eventually she started learning about carnivore and the carnivore way of eating. She had researched it to be one of the lowest inflammatory diets, and that perhaps our vegetable diet might not be as beneficial as what we had led ourselves to believe. So she asked me if I would join her in a conference that she was going to called Hack Your Health, and it was in Texas, and that was June of 2024. And that's when I met a person that changed my life completely. Remember, I wasn't there for me, I was there for her. But Dr. Anthony Chafee sat with me for 45 minutes. And when I walked away, I was a changed person. We talked about plants and how they are trying to kill me. And I think I may have laughed out loud at the time because, listen, I was like, a vegetarian. And he says to me, I'm not laughing. He said, I'm very, very serious about this. And I had never heard such craziness. But he said it with such conviction that I would not dare challenge him. And I didn't really know at the time who Dr. Chafee was. And I really never knew much about the carnivore or the animal-based or the keto lifestyle. Because remember, I was there as a chaperone for my searching wife who was looking for that low inflammatory. So forgive me when I just take a minute to look at my garden as the source of the many illnesses that I was dealing with. I was so confused. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm going to be going to the Hack Your Health in Tampa. It's going to be this year in November the 13th to the 15th, and it's in Florida, Tampa, Florida. So if you want a $100 discount, go to the promo code and that's linked and put in FIX and you'll get a $100 discount. I'd love to see you there. So this video, the final one on our list, I saved this one for last because it is the hardest one for most of us to wrap our heads around. And it's the most important because the story that we're being told is not the whole story. And for people who are sick or inflamed and doing everything right, the missing part of this story might be exactly what you need to hear right now. Okay, so as always, I just need to explain, I am not a doctor. I'm just a regular guy who's sharing the information that helped heal me from all of my chronic diseases and helped me drop almost 90 pounds. So I want to start by saying something clearly here. As I said earlier, I'm not here to tell you that all vegetables are bad for you. That is not the argument. For most people that are eating a standard American diet, replacing processed foods with vegetables is a huge improvement. I am not disputing that. What I am disputing is that the idea that vegetables are universally healthy for all people in all circumstances, the idea that vegetables always equals better health, it is on every food guide. It is in every doctor's office. They tell you, eat your greens, fill half your plate with vegetables. The more color that you can put on that plate, the better. And for most of my adult life, I believed that this was true. I ate salads with every meal, and sometimes my meal was a salad. I was proud of the fact that I grew my own food. When I was challenged to ask questions that felt almost forbidden, what if the vegetables are not helping me? What if for a body that's already inflamed and already damaged and already fighting itself, what if what I'm eating from this garden might actually be making things worse? So we talked about this a little bit in the beans video as well. If you haven't seen that video, you probably should go back and check that one out. But I want to go deeper here because I think it is probably one of the most important things to understand about why this is going to matter. Plants cannot run away from us. This has got to be the starting point. An animal that feels threatened has some options. They can run, they can fight, they can hide. A plant, they don't have the same options that the animals do. So over hundreds of years, hundreds of millions of years, plants developed a completely different survival strategy. They built chemistry, compounds designed to discourage those same animals from eating too much of them, not to kill them outright, just to make the experience unpleasant enough that the animal moved to another plant. Now here's the part that changes the way that you're going to look at that salad bowl this evening. Every vegetable that has ever been eaten has some version of these defense compounds, every single one of them. The question is not whether they exist. The question is how much your body is able to handle. And the answer to that question changes depending on the state of your gut and what state your gut is in today. Now, for a healthy gut with a strong lining and a well-functioning immune system, these compounds pass through or get neutralized without any problems at all. However, for a gut that's already damaged, already inflamed, already letting things through that lining that shouldn't be getting through, those same compounds can ignite a stomach that feels impossible to manage. Okay, so let me walk you through the 4 main defense compounds. 4. These are relevant with people that are dealing with chronic inflammation. Remember, if you're already sick, this is important. Number 1, oxalates. They're found in some of the most celebrated health foods on the planet. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, almonds, beets, and my favorite, sweet potatoes. Here is what the oxalates are going to do inside your body. Oxalates bind to minerals, particularly calcium, and they form tiny sharp crystals. Imagine little shards of broken glass, microscopic but sharp. In a healthy gut, most oxalates are broken down by specific gut bacteria before they can cause any problems in your gut. But if those gut bacteria are depleted, if your gut is damaged, or if you are eating high amounts of oxalate-rich foods, those crystals can accumulate. They can deposit in your joints, causing grinding, nonstop pain. They can accumulate in the kidneys, contributing to some kidney stones, and they can irritate the gut lining directly. Now, I had joint pain for years. My doctors couldn't tell me what it was. Why? Psoriatic arthritis was the diagnosis, and the biologic medication that I was given was methotrexate. Oxalate accumulation in joints produces symptoms that can look almost identical to that. And of course, nobody ever asked me how much spinach I was eating because, let's be honest, spinach is the vegetable that you eat to get strong. Remember Popeye? So I was making oxalate-powered smoothies every single morning because I thought I was doing something that was good for myself. I had no idea that that superfood was in fact toxic for me because I was already inflamed. And here's the recipe of what I was making. Lots of spinach, a handful of blueberries, chocolate, whey protein powder, a scoop of beetroot powder, all blended together with almond milk. That sounds great, right? Not so fast. Sally Norton, author of the Toxic Superfoods, educated me on how my healthy morning smoothie was actually causing me some serious problems. Stick around and I'll share more about oxalates. Okay, let's talk about compound number 2, lectins. We covered lectins in the beans video, but vegetables, they carry them as well. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, all the nightshade family is particularly high in them. And lectins, remember, are those little grappling hooks. They attach to the cells in your gut lining. They can widen the gaps in your wall. And when those gaps open, things get through that should not get through. So what happens? Your immune system responds. The alarms fire up, and in someone who already has immune conditions, autoimmune conditions, that alarm does not take much time to trigger. Now, I had psoriasis for most of my adult life, and psoriasis is an autoimmune condition driven by an immune system that is constantly on edge. I was eating tomatoes every day from my garden. Bell peppers, cucumbers, I was eating this stuff every day. Lots of nightshades, all high in the exact compounds that keep an already overactive immune system in a constant state of alert. Okay, let's talk about compound number 3. This is huge. Goitrogens. This one specifically affects your thyroid. And I want to spend a moment on it because thyroid dysfunction is one of the most underdiagnosed conditions in North America today, particularly in women that are over the age of 40. Goitrogens are compounds found in cruciferous vegetables: broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, the very vegetables that get the most praise in every health publication. And here is what goitrogens actually do. Your thyroid is a small gland at the base of your throat. Think of it like your thermostat for your entire body. It regulates your metabolism, your energy, your temperature, and your mood. Goitrogens interfere with your thyroid's ability to absorb iodine. And iodine is the fuel that your thyroid actually runs on. So without enough iodine, the thermostat cannot do its job. The heat goes down, the metabolism slows, you feel cold when everybody else is fine, and you're tired in a way that no amount of sleep is ever going to fix. Then you gain weight without even understanding why, because you changed nothing in your life. Then you feel foggy and flat and you can't figure out why. Now, most women of a certain age are told this simply is natural for an aging body. However, this is simply not the case. For people with an already compromised thyroid function, eating large amounts of raw cruciferous vegetables every day can compound an existing problem in ways that never get connected to the broccoli. It is usually connected to the aging process of a hormone imbalance, also called menopause. Cooking will reduce goitrogen significantly. Raw does not. That green smoothie that's full of the kale that you're making every morning because you think it's healthy and healing probably is working against you. And it's certainly working against your thyroid. Okay, let's talk about compound number 4. It is called salicylates. And this is the one that you've never heard of. Salicylates are natural compounds found in a wide range of fruits and vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, zucchinis, most berries, citrus. They are essentially a natural form of aspirin. The plant produces them as a defense against bacteria and fungi. And for most people, a small amount of this is fine. But some people, particularly those that are already chronically inflamed or have leaky gut or autoimmune conditions, they develop a sensitivity to salicylates over time. Think of your body like a bucket. A little bit goes in, no problem. Your body can handle that. But if the bucket is already full from other sources, diet, environment, chronic stress, and you just keep adding more into your body, eventually that bucket is going to overflow. And when it overflows, for salicylate sensitive people, the symptoms of that can look like skin irritations, gut pain, joint inflammation, headaches, fatigue, things that look like a dozen other conditions, right? And because nobody asks you about your vegetable intake when you show up with these chronic symptoms, the connection will never get made to the food. Okay, let's come back to the garden, because this one is personal for me in a way that the other 6 videos I did, they just weren't. Because I was not buying processed food and wondering why I was still getting sick. I was growing my own vegetables, my own food, right with my own hands, in my own soil, in my own backyard, and I was still sick. I could not tell myself that I was lazy or careless. I was deliberate and careful on what I was growing, because this is what I was told to do. I had done what every expert told me, and my body, it just kept breaking down. When I finally went carnivore in full and pulled vegetables out completely, the first thing that I felt was not relief. It was hugely the guilt. I walked past that garden every single day and I felt like I was doing something wrong, like I was betraying the land or the work that I had already done and that my family had done. The belief that growing my own food is the purest form of taking care of my body. But then something happened. Around 2 weeks in, the gut inflammation that I had just accepted as this is my life, it started to go down, and my body eliminated that low hum of discomfort. And listen, when it goes quiet, it's a big deal. My skin started to settle. My joint pain in my hands and my feet and my hips, which I had figured was just the psoriatic arthritis, it started to ease up and I started to feel better. And I had to sit with the truth that felt very, very uncomfortable, that my garden had not made me sick, but it was probably what I was growing in that garden that was keeping me sick. And listen, I've taken a break from the garden right now, but my next love, because I love the garden. And the next thing I'm going to put in that garden is just some wild flowers, because really it's just a beautiful piece of property and I don't want to lose what I've done there. So I know what a lot of you are thinking right now. There are thousands and thousands of studies showing that vegetables reduce disease. And listen, I understand. Populations that eat more vegetables, they live longer, right? The blue zones, they're eating vegetables all the time. I hear you. And I am not dismissing that research, because that research is important. But I want you to notice something about most of these studies, that when they are comparing eating vegetables to people that were eating processed diets, not to people that were eating a well-formulated carnivore diet, when you remove the junk food and then add vegetables, yes, your health is going to improve. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the vegetables were the thing that was doing the work. It might actually mean that the removal of the junk food was doing the work. Now, some are going to argue with you that the low-carb, animal, and carnivore lifestyles are doing that as well. It's just elimination, right? So I am not here to tell you to never eat a vegetable again. I am here to tell you that if you are sick, inflamed, exhausted, or doing everything that the mainstream is telling you to do, recommends eating the vegetables included, guys, it is worth asking whether the plants themselves are part of what is keeping you sick and inflamed. 30 days, that's all that I'm suggesting here. Give your body a clean window without the vegetables. And let your body tell you something that no study can tell you about your specific situation. Okay, let's talk about what we should do about this. What do we do? Now, here's what I would suggest. Start by removing the highest risk vegetables for your situation. So if you've got joint pain or kidney issues, the highest oxalate foods, they gotta go. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, almonds, beets, sweet potatoes. If you have an autoimmune condition or skin issue, the nightshades, they got to go. Tomatoes, peppers, eggplant. If you have a thyroid issue or some fatigue or unexplained weight gain, raw cruciferous vegetables, they got to go. Raw kale, broccoli, cauliflower. You do not have to cut everything all at once. Start with the category that is most likely connected with the symptoms that you have right now today. Okay, let's talk about number 2. Let's dial this in deep. So do a full 30 to 90 day elimination. If you want the clearest picture of what vegetables are doing to your body, pull them all out, all of them, completely for at least the first 30 days, and then see how you feel, because it's going to make a big difference. Go with your bacon, your beef, your butter, your eggs, your salt, electrolytes if you require them. Simple, clean. Give your gut the quietest possible environment to begin healing, guys. Okay, so number 3, pay attention. Within 2 weeks of no vegetables, see what happens. And if vegetables were contributing to your inflammation, your body will start to tell you. Your gut's going to quiet down. Your skin is going to settle. Your joint pain is going to be much less. You've got steady energy all through the day. That is not a placebo effect, guys. These are your body's systems finally getting a break from the compounds that were keeping your body busy. Number 4, let go of the guilt. This one matters. If you grew or are growing a garden like I did, or if you identify it and it's tied to your healthy, clean eating, and eating plants, removing vegetables can feel like a failure, it's not a failure. It is information. Your body is not broken. It's just telling you something that the mainstream was not equipped to say. Please understand that I am not telling you to not eat vegetables. If you like eating vegetables, eat them. I am simply telling you, do not eat the vegetables thinking that they are the answer to your failing health. I will no longer drink that green drink thinking that my body needs it. I have tried to convince myself for 2.5 years that those green smoothies, the tempeh, the meat alternatives that I was eating, the burgers that were made of beetroot that they called Beyond Meat burgers, were a superior food and my health would thank me. This was heavily misguided and totally untrue. I don't want that for you. So Sally K. Norton is an advocate for low oxalate, meat forward eating. I mentioned earlier in this video that I was going to bring you some valuable information. I want to share that in addition to the 7 foods list. I have created a new list. This list includes all of the low oxalate foods that Sally recommends, along with the basics of what oxalates actually are. I've experienced severe oxalate dumping as a result of my high oxalate way of eating when I was vegetarian. I will have the link for this below, so please go ahead and get that free list as well. Okay, let's talk about what we've done here. We've come to the end of our series. We've got the 7 videos, the 7 foods, the beginning to everlasting health. We have removed seed oils, sugar, wheats and grains, processed meats, beans and legumes, industrial dairy, and now most of all vegetables are going to go as well. I know I don't have any. And these are the 7 foods that are breaking our bodies and that I cut from my diet. It is a process, guys. So stay focused on the reason why you're doing this. There's always a reason why. So here's what happened to me. Let's just recap. 12 chronic diseases, went into full remission. 85 pounds. I never thought I could get under 250 without even counting a single calorie. My fatty liver, gone. Psoriasis, cleared. Arthritis, quiet. My GERD has totally disappeared. I feel better today than I did when I was in my 30s. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not telling you what to do right now. I am telling you what I did. I am showing you the evidence of the success that I've had. I'm teaching you to begin to start listening to your body because it has been communicating with you for years. Maybe it's telling you through your gut discomfort that you have just accepted as being a normal process to the day when you get the cramping. Maybe it's telling you through the joint pain that you've chalked up to just getting older, because that's what I did. Maybe it is telling you through the fatigue and the brain fog and the skin that won't clear up and the weight that you just can't drop off. Listen, I understand. I dealt with it. I lived it. Those are not the sounds of an aging body, everybody. Those are the sounds of a body that is reacting to something. And the most powerful question that you can ask is not what medication I'm going to be able to take to manage this problem. It is, what am I eating that is causing this? Look for the root cause. I was not special. I didn't have crazy willpower and huge resources behind me. I was 54 years old and I was running out of options, and I decided I was going to try this one thing before I ran out of all options. And guess what? It has totally worked for me, and it can work for you. Now, if this series helped you, share it with somebody who needs to hear it, please. Someone who is sick and frustrated and is doing everything right. Somebody who has been handed prescription after prescription. And if that person exists in your life, please send them this video. If you happen to be catching this last video in the series, go back and watch the other 6 videos. The 7 foods, grab that free guide. It is so important because this is where it all starts. The 7 foods breaking your body. Remember to surround yourself with like-minded people. You're going to have a lot of people that are telling you this won't work. And I have enjoyed the community over at the Steak and Butter Gang. Bella and her team helped me early on, and she can help you as well. Her link is going to be down below. Jump on that. Please come back next week, guys, because while this was the end of the series, it is not the end of our conversation regarding this lifestyle. There is so much more that we need to talk about. So I will see you in the next one, where I am going to be breaking down oxalate dumping symptoms, what you're going to experience, and how you can ease those up. Because believe me, when you're pushing shards of glass through your skin, it hurts. And I'll explain it. So as always, guys, trust the process, trust your body, and trust the one who made it. Fix your food, because it's going to fix your life.